Hi everybody, welcome back. And for our read aloud today, we're going to look at this book again, but there's actually a second part to this book that we did not look at yet, For the Vegetables We Eat by Gail Gibbons. The first time we read this book, it was mostly focusing on what vegetables are and what categories they grow in, like leafy vegetables, cabbage, lettuce, flowering vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower. This time we're going to think about how does vegetables get from the places where they're grown to our own kitchen tables? How do they get to where we live? Okay, so as you can see in this picture, these people are working together in a garden. This looks like a bunch of people that got together and working together in a garden. Let's see. When it gets warm enough, many people enjoy planting, growing, and later harvesting their own vegetables. Most often they buy packets of seeds that have directions. So let's check out this picture for a minute. Well, there are the package of seeds, and if you notice, each seed packet has a picture on it. That helps people to identify what seeds are inside for growing. What is she using? That's called a rake. What a rake does is churn up the soil, mixes up the soil, loosens it up a little bit so that when seeds are dropped in, they can go into the soil much easier. Yeah, the same thing with the shovel. The shovel helps also to loosen the soil. It cultivates it, and then you could drop the seeds in. They look like they're working together as a community. Some people use their own backyards as gardens if they have some space to do so. Here, you can see everybody working together really hard to plant all those seeds in rows. And look, they didn't throw out the seed packets with the pictures on them, because now the seed packets are actually used on little sticks put in the dirt in front of each row for identification, so that people will know what plants are growing in each row. This is a little starter plant, and a starter plant you can buy from a plant store. And it's actually not started from it started from a seed in the plant store, and then it's sold to people if they want to get kind of a jump start or a quicker way to grow what they need to grow. And as you can see, she's spacing them out because plants also need space to grow. It helps them so this way all the roots do not get tangled up. So let's see. Some people plant starter plants, also called seedlings. Most of the time, vegetable seeds or starter plants are planted in straight rows or circles. Well, you can see now the plants are starting to come up really nice. Well, everything's growing. What's being used in this picture to help the plants grow? What is she holding? That's right, it's a watering can. She's holding a watering can. And what is that? That's called a scarecrow. Now, why do people use scarecrows sometimes in their gardens or crops or whatever? The reason why is because if the birds think that there's a man standing in a field, they're going to be scared away. They're not going to want to pick out all the food that's growing there. So that's why they call them scarecrows, because it actually looks like a man that would scare birds or crows away. And it's usually stuffed with straw or something like that to make it look like a person standing there. Okay. The garden must be weeded and watered regularly for plants to grow. Remember, the three things is water, sun, and air. Those are the three things we need to have plants grow. Now, what if people want to make a garden, but there's no backyard or big space for them to grow things, but they want to make a community garden? Some people can use a rooftop, like people that live in the city. So these plants are actually growing on the top of the roof where these people live. Sometimes you could even grow gardens in between buildings. And how is that done in a city? Look what they're using. They're using pots, flower pots, all kinds of flower pots to grow different types of vegetables. What kind of vegetables growing here? Yeah, if you said tomatoes, you're correct. It is tomatoes. Let's see what this says. In cities, many people grow vegetables in containers. This is lettuce growing in here. And green beans growing in this one. And sweet peppers growing in this one. So yeah, vegetables can grow in cities as well. The vegetable plants will become bigger until they're ready for harvesting. Harvesting? What word is harvesting? What does that mean? That means until they're ready to be picked, when all the food is ripe. So here you can see these were picked. They were ready for harvesting, and now they can be displayed in barrels and crates. At the beginning, where they start off with the plants are very small, and then here you see the vegetables are growing a little larger, and now they're ready for harvesting because they've grown to the full size or the desired color for picking. That's how some people, if they see a green tomato, they're not going to want to pick it so quickly, but once it turns red, they might want to pick it. How about large amounts of vegetables or even fruit? How about when people need a lot of it grown at once? Well, sometimes they're grown on what's called farms. So how are they grown on a farm? Well, farmers have a lot of times machinery to help them grow their crops because they need to grow a lot of food at once, and machinery can do the job of many people. So this one is a tractor which has a fertilizer machine attached to the back of it. Fertilizer helps to bring nutrients to the soil. This one has a cultivator, lots of little blades that run through the soil attached to the back of this tractor. That helps dig up the soil and churn it up to make the soil nice, and so seeds can be scattered in the soil. This one kind of flattens it out a little bit to make it easier for planting. And this one, as you can see, that's the planter. That scatters out the seeds. So instead of dropping it one by hand, the farmer can scatter like thousands of seeds all at one time, which makes it a lot easier for him, especially if you have a very large space to grow. Farmers fertilize the soil. Then the fields are plowed, harrowed, and planted. And look at that. What is this thing? Well, that's actually a water pipe that is used by this farmer to water large amounts of crops at once. And it kind of runs the length of the farm. And as you can see, there are rows and rows of the vegetables are getting watered. And here, some vegetables have to be picked by hand because they're very fragile, they're very soft. Like tomatoes is an example. They can't really be picked by a machine. They have to be picked by hand. But there are other vegetables like corn or maybe wheat that can be picked by machine. And that can do the job of many people at once. So the process is a lot quicker. Big sprinkling systems are used to water the vegetable plants. At the end of each growing season, the vegetables are harvested. So now the vegetables are harvested, But how are they going to get from the farm to where we are in the cities or the small towns all across the country? How do they get from there to us? Well, one way is, what's that? We learned this in transportation, right? Yeah, that's a truck. It's put on trucks. Here you see people packing up tomatoes so they can put it on trucks. And then from the trucks, they are brought to supermarkets and marketplaces. Refrigerated trucks haul vegetables to the processing plants. There they will be washed, sorted, and some are frozen. Some are canned, and the rest will be sold fresh. And not only trucks are used, other transportation is used too, such as boats. This is a cargo boat. Might have lots and lots of boxes of fresh food to bring to cities and other places. Here they're taken off in crates. And from the trucks, they're also loaded on into the supermarkets. You also sometimes have a cargo train. They can go by train as well. Vegetables are shipped to stores near and far away for people to buy. And this is how fruit is done too. I know this book focuses mostly on vegetables, but this is also how fruit is transferred to from the farms and from all these different places to our homes and grocery stores. At the grocery store, fresh vegetables are on display. Canned vegetables line shelves. Frozen vegetables are found in freezers. So perhaps this picture is familiar to you if you ever went shopping with your family in a supermarket where you can buy nice fresh vegetables for your family to eat. Here, some of the vegetables are stored in cans so that they last longer. And here, yes, some vegetables are even frozen. That means they're put in freezers so that they can be used later also to preserve the freshness of the vegetable. So they can be stored many different ways. And not only can you get vegetables at your local supermarket, you can also find them in what's called green markets. We have some of them in the city, and then there are some spread out throughout the whole country. This is where people just put the fruits and vegetables in barrels or crates and have them on display. People can just drive up and see what they want to eat. Some people buy fresh vegetables from farm stands, and it's fun to pick out what to buy. Look at all the delicious vegetables. So again, you can talk with your family about the vegetables you like. And if you want to draw a picture, if you haven't done so already, of this book, you can send it to Remind so that we can share it for next week. Okay, everybody, hope you enjoyed this book, and take care. Bye-bye.